Of late, the Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, and Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate for 2023 presidential election, have been engaged in altercations on the state of Anambra economy. The former central bank governor during the week alleged that the investments Mr. Obi left in government are worth close to nothing. In a swift response, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi responded saying, quote, "I did my little as Anambra governor. Mr. Soludo should do more as a professor," end quote. Still, the ex-CBN governor further said Mr. Obi can't win the 2023 presidential election as there are two persons seriously contesting for president. Again, the Labour Party presidential candidate replied, saying he did as little as governor of Anambra and urged Mr. Soludo to do his best in the state as economics professor. The Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, says he's sure the candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, would lose the 2023 presidential election. And Mr. Soludo added that he would not submit to the bullying of Obi's supporters, who recently descended on him for addressing issues in the state. Let's speak to Olu Martins, who is a member of the Peter Obi Media Presidential Campaign Council. He joins us live via Zoom from Abuja. Good to have you on the news at 7. We seem to have gotten a reaction from your party's presidential candidate who has perhaps a different opinion as to how that investment went in Anambra. But you recall that both of them met behind closed doors in August of this year, and they came out from that meeting with glowing tributes for each other. It would seem that Mr. Obi hasn't gotten the support of a state governor as we speak. Do you expect anything to change in the coming days?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Let me first of all thank TVC being the first among several media stations to put such issues in the front burner. It is indeed said by Patrick Henry that for our collective freedoms to be guaranteed, the activities and actions of governments cannot be shrouded in secrecy. So I'm excited that you have brought these things on board. Since I got this invitation to be on TVC, I've been warned as to what to make of the, if you like to put it, the attacks of vituperations from the former governor of CBN. His party is almost not in this election. His own election is not an immediate election, as to say, okay, maybe he's also holding election in February, and then he's afraid perhaps that the Labour Party's popularity going by Peter Obi's acceptance will worry him. So I wonder, is beating my imagination hollow. Why this time? Professor Soludo became governor in Anambra State in November. These issues didn't come up in November, not in December, not in January. You're talking about we're close to the election, and then you think that it is an auspicious time, so to speak, to demarcate one of your own, to demarcate somebody who had been, governor, before you, for whom you have very rich ties of, propinquity and evidences of contiguity. This is Africa, and in the whole of Africa, my father used to tell me that if you cannot win a race, what you should do is to help your brother win the race. So we would expect that since Professor Soludo is not expecting his own election to be held side by side Peter Obi's own, the least that he can do is the fact that he will support his brother. For me, this violates all of the principles, brotherhood. I am a Yoruba by birth and by inclination, even though I'm originally from Edo State. They used to tell me at that time that it is not from my mouth they will hear that the teacher's mother has died. So the things that we heard from Professor Charles Soludo, which to me is a deliberate attempt to demarcate his own brother from the same Anambra State. No matter how many times they caught Nigeria, he himself and Professor Soludo will be in one country, as it were. So I expect that at that level of discussion, the minimum he can have is to support his own brother, because he cannot win the race. Because he is not.
For a minute, let's just take a look at some of Governor Soludo's concerns, because he's also raised up here, accusing supporters of Mr. Peter Obi of intolerance against opposition. I'm quoting him now. He's saying, "Let me state that this exhibition of desperation intolerance, and attempt to bully everyone who expresses the slightest of dissent is reprehensible. Now, if this is true about the idea of bullying from supporters of the Labour Party, is your party concerned about that, and are you doing anything to discourage such approach from the perceived supporters?
Two very quick issues. Number one, all of the supporters of Mr. Peter Obi are Nigerians who are vexed enough with the state at which Nigeria is in. We have never had it that bad. Everything has more than quadrupled in price, including bride price. So naturally, Nigerians are angry. Naturally, Nigerians are bitter, and Nigerians are upset. So you cannot blame the average Nigerian for expressing his dissent with such vituperations. So I'm not holding brief for them. I'm not making an excuse for them, but they are Nigerians, and they are vexed with where they have found themselves. I know what loaf of bread used to be just a few years ago. I know what it is today. I know as you run now, even your television station must be running expressly and interruptedly on generating set. But having said that, how do you identify a Peter Obi supporter? Is it not possible that there are infiltrations within the rank and file of what we call the Peter Obi supporters by those who want to give a dog a bad name so that they can hang it? Mr. Peter Obi consistently has told his supporters that we should be civil in our approach, that we should be decent in engaging issues and not attacking personality. But like I said, Nigerians are angry, Nigerians are hungry, Nigerians are upset, Nigerians are bitter that what the APC promised us that they will do over 7 years
some of these expressions,
the things have not gotten any better.
And some of these outbursts online. Just a minute, Mr. Martins. I'm trying to ask you a lot of questions within the short time that we have. You're saying that many of these outbursts is a function of the anger bottled up by some Nigerians. But let's speak to another concern raised by the Anambra State Governor. The narrative that there are only two serious candidates in this election has again been expressed by Governor Soludo. However, this is the question I want you to answer. Nobody has emerged president in Nigeria without getting an open support from state governors. What's the strategy of the Labour Party? Saying that it doesn't seem that we have had that open support from any state governor. Correct me if I'm wrong, for your candidate.
First of all, let me say that if you have checked the trajectory of Mr. Peter Obi, it has been, in a manner of speaking, miraculous in a manner of speaking. He is the first governor from APGA. He is the first governor to have complete 8 years under APGA. He is the first governor to have been impeached and come back to office on 2 occasions. So the man has had several firsts. What you are talking about is the traditional methodology of emerging to office. But there is no state governor, in a manner of speaking, who is God. Power belongs to God. As much as we crave the participation and the endorsement of state governor, ultimately, democracy has been rightly described as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Every state governor has 1 vote, and we appreciate their endorsement when he comes in. But that is not to say, because it has never happened before, it cannot happen. It cannot happen for the first time. The things that have happened again and again happen with somebody for the first time. The people who got the endorsement of state governors who won happened with them for the first time. So that it has never happened before doesn't mean that it cannot happen. Between difficult and impossible, I rather choose difficult other than impossible. Well, the man has, if you don't have the support of the state governor, we have the support of the teeming Nigerian people who are yearning very earnestly for a change.
I hear you. And you're saying that the Labour Party has faith in the Nigerian people. Olu Martins is a member of the Peter Obi Media Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you so much for talking to us on the news tonight.
Thank you for having me.